Welcome back, boys and girls, for another reading lesson. We will continue learning about dialogue today. Do you remember what dialogue is? That's right. The words a character says are called dialogue. And authors or writers use dialogue to help us understand more about the character. They help us understand what the character thinks or feels, and of course, what the character says. The word said can help us know who is talking in the story, which character is talking. And hopefully you learned that quotation marks go around the words that a character says. That is called dialogue. All right, I want you to pay attention to the dialogue in this story. I want you to think about which character is speaking and how maybe they would say the words if they were really talking. Okay, are you ready? This story is called The Big Trip by Valery Gorbachev. First of all, do you think that this is realistic or fantasy? If you said fantasy, I think you're on the right track. Because here we have a pig that's wearing clothes and reading a map and flying in a hot air balloon. I think this is probably fantasy. This couldn't really happen in real life. The Big Trip. Have you ever been on a big trip? I wonder what this big trip is going to be all about. Where is Pig going to go and how is he going to get there? All right, let's read and find out. I am going on to take a trip far away, Pig said to the goat one day. How will you go? Asked Goat. Let me think for a moment, said Pig. Maybe I will go by bike. That will be a very nice trip. Oh dear, said Goat. You could fall off a bike. Do you see some dialogue? Who's talking? Do you see the quotation marks? Ah, said Pig. Then I will drive a car. It's not a good idea, Pig, said Goat. A car can break down. Make sure you can see the pictures. Oh, said Pig. Then I will go by horse on my trip. I'm not sure about that, said Goat. Horses can be very jumpy. So every time Pig has an idea of how he's going to go on his trip, what does Goat say? That's right, Goat comes up with a problem that could happen. Uh-oh. Okay, said Pig. Then I'm going to go by donkey cart. A donkey is very quiet. Not good, said Goat. Donkeys can be very stubborn. So why does Pig think taking a donkey for his trip would be good? That's right, because he thinks the donkey is quiet. Why does Goat say that that's not a good idea? That's right, because Goat thinks that donkeys are stubborn. Then I will go by train, said Pig. Oh, Pig, said Goat. A train could get stuck in a tunnel. Good point, said Pig. Then I will fly by plane. What if the engine stops, said Goat. You'd have to parachute. True, said Pig. Then I will go by hot air balloon. The hot air balloon could have a hole, said Goat. Okay, I will not travel by land. I will not travel by air. I will go by sea, said Pig, on a ship. Do you see all of the dialogue? Here are the quotation marks that start this dialogue, and here's where it ends. And then it says, said Goat. So I know all of these words were said by Goat. Oh no, exclaimed Goat. Don't do it. The ship could run into a reef when passing through fog, or run into a heavy storm at sea. And there are sharks all around at sea. So many you couldn't count them. And you could find yourself alone on a desert island in the middle of the ocean with pirates that could come on that desert island by pirate ship. Stop! 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 Exclaimed Pig. What do you think exclaimed means? Instead of saying said pig, the author says exclaimed pig. What does exclaimed mean? And how do you know? Yeah, it probably means that he said it loudly. Look at how the letters even get bigger and bigger, then finally in all caps. So he's probably saying it really loud. Why do you think Pig is saying stop, stop, stop so loudly? Yes, because he's frustrated every time he tells this great idea for his trip. Goat tells him why it wouldn't work. I could fall off a bike, break down in a car, get thrown by a horse, never get there with a donkey, or get stuck on a train. I might have to parachute from a plane or from a hot air balloon, and traveling by ship could bring me many troubles. So I will not go anywhere, said Pig. Having a big trip is a very scary thing. Unless, said Goat, looking at Pig. Uh-oh. What do you think? Do you think Goat has an idea? Can you make a prediction about what Goat's idea might be? You go with a friend. So what do you think that Goat's suggestion is? Maybe that he goes along with Pig? And why does he want to go along with Pig? To help keep him safe from all these troubles, right? Okay, so let me ask you a few questions about our story today. Who were the characters in our story? That's right, Pig and Goat. And did we learn a lot about them from their dialogue? What did we learn? Yeah, that's right. We learned that Pig is excited and looking forward to his trip, and he has these great ideas. But we learned that Goat always comes up with the problem of what could go wrong. Exactly. And we learned all of that from their dialogue, didn't we? Does just one character speak in the story? Can you kind of visualize in your head how Pig and Goat might act when they're talking to each other? Right? I can see Pig raising his finger, right? Saying, I've got it. I've got this great idea about my trip. And then you see Goat putting his hand on Pig's shoulder and shaking his head and saying, that's not going to work, right? Can you kind of visualize Pig and Goat talking in your head? Think about all of the ideas that Pig has for his trip. What conclusion can you draw about how much Pig wants to go on his trip? Very good. I can draw that conclusion too, that Pig really wants to go on his trip. Even when Goat tells him a reason why something's not going to work, he comes up with another idea and he just keeps trying. He really wants to go on this trip, doesn't he? Do you think this story was written to inform you or persuade you or entertain you? Yes, I think entertain because it makes us laugh. It's a silly goat and pig who are fussing and arguing about a trip, and they have clothes on and they're talking. So it's just a fun, silly story to make us laugh or entertain us, right? Do you think Pig has gone on his trip yet? How do you know? He hasn't, has he? He's just looking at his map and telling all of his great ideas, sitting at home on his sofa. And hopefully he gets to go on his trip now that Goat wants to go along. Do you think that Pig's problem was ever solved? Yes, I think so too. I think Goat and Pig plan their trip together, and now that they have a buddy to go with and they won't be alone, Pig won't be alone. He'll have Goat there to help him. They feel safer and like they can go on their trip. I hope you enjoyed this book, boys and girls, and I hope you enjoyed practicing some of your reading skills that we've been learning over the last few weeks. We talked about the author's purpose, we talked about dialogue, we talked about the characters, we talked about compare and contrast of different ideas that the characters had. We even talked about um, predictions and what we thought might happen next. We talked about the author's purpose. Man, we covered almost all of our skills that we've been working on. So I'm really proud of you. It's time for you to continue working with more dialogue and quotation marks in your Reading A to Z assignment today. All right, have fun and work hard. See you soon.